Well, it's March. We're a day or two past the equinox in March, and I haven't done a yard walk for a long time, and I'm kind of stuck at home with, like everybody is, with the quarantine stuff going on. And so I thought maybe today would be a good day to do a yard walk. The camellia still has quite a few blooms on it. It's been blooming for quite a while. It's probably, well, there's still a couple that haven't budded out yet. There's some yellow leaves there too, but it's got quite a few that are, past their prime there. But it's got some that are just opening. This is our largest camellia. This one was actually here when we moved in. So I don't know how old it is, but it's got a lot of blooms. Well, let's start. We're going to go to the front and start in the front because most of the interesting stuff has been going on this spring so far. Is on the hill here in the front yard. You may notice there's a little white substance here on the lawn. I don't know if you see it, but just in case you notice it, it's baking soda. I sprinkle a little baking soda on the lawn to take care of the moss. Moss doesn't like baking soda. And we have pretty acidic soil anyway, so it doesn't hurt anything. So here we've got the Japanese maple, just barely starting to leaf out, just the tiniest buds on it. These evergreens here in the front yard took a hit from we had real heavy snow again this year, and melted, knocked down all the branches, and but that's okay. Once it's open in there, then the sun can get in there and it can regrow some, so I'll probably do some trimming. So let's see what we got going on here. In the first row, we have that Mahonia there. It's a young Mahonia. It not knocked over a little bit. These are some of the azalea dwarf rhododendron type plants. This one's actually got a couple of little blooms. Kind of pretty. They're not too old. They've only been here a few years. This is a volunteer native berry. It's just starting to leaf out, just barely. Let's see. What else we got going on here? This is a 9-bark. It's not leafing out yet at all, really. Maybe just barely starting. That's a clematis there on this little tiny trellis. It's got some leaves this spring already. And these are some blueberries, which haven't really done anything yet this year. They got some leaves that they hung on to over the winter. Let's see what else we got around the corner here. These are a couple of guys that I planted a few years ago. Got some pretty little reddish berries there. I can't remember what these are, but they're kind of tough. They're drought tolerant, so they're in a dry spot. Here's some daffodils that are just starting to bloom. Some grape hyacinths. We've got some grape hyacinths up there on the hill. There's a couple of grape hyacinths coming up there. We got some scattered around in the lawn. This is a new plant. Went and got a trellis and just stuck it in the dirt here. And that green twig that goes up into it there is a jasmine. So we'll see how that goes. It's supposed to get, sheltered spot, a lot of sun. So it's here in the middle of the yard. It gets sun in the morning and in the afternoon in the summertime. And hopefully it'll leaf out and shade this thing here. I forget what this is, but it isn't. I don't think it gets enough moisture up here, and maybe it gets a little bit too much sun. So it might help it to have a jasmine next to it. The other thing I did this year, I've had this Filbert tree here for, 4 years or so, and now it's over 6 feet tall, I would say now. It's almost as tall as I am, about the same height I am. And it's just starting to leaf out too. It's got some little tiny buds. But I read in Reed Tree Nursery's catalog that you have to have cross-pollination in order to get any hazelnuts on the Filbert tree. So this right here is a brand new little Filbert tree, and it's just barely getting its first leaves too. So there'll be two Filbert trees here in the corner. The Crocuses in the lawn are pretty much done. There's some little purple blotches there where the flowers have fallen over and are melting back into the soil. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on here. It's new and interesting. Oh, the apple trees. We should probably check out the apple trees. So I planted 3 crab apple trees. Again, 3 different varieties that should cross-pollinate. Apparently, you need cross-pollination for apples to pollinate. Who knew? Not me. Probably everybody else. This is one that's going to get pink flowers. It should be nice. Or Kathy liked that one in the catalog. It's got. It's probably the furthest along as far as growing buds. It's got new buds there. The middle one here was the one that was farthest behind, I think. It has, yeah, there's a little tiny bit of green growth there. This is just barely getting started. And then the third one over here is got some little green growth too. So they all made it alive through the weather. And this Mahonia here, I've trimmed it. I've pruned this one a little bit. The biggest Mahonia here, you can see the branches mostly are at an angle now because I could stake it up, but I could just leave it. And what I've done so far is I've kind of cut off some of the branches that were coming down here the lowest, and hopefully it'll grow up. And if there's any new growth back in there, I'll encourage it, and it'll grow up. This is a camellia here, which the deer used to actually eat this one. So I planted a little Mahonia back here to kind of protect it. And something was actually eating this Mahonia. That's not deer. Maybe it's a slug. I don't know. Probably slugs. So that's pretty much the news. Oh, these 2 little guys here were 2 new shrubs that I planted last year. They made it through the winter okay. They're Sarcococa russifolia. Slow-growing, rounded, evergreen, broadleaf shrub. Supposed to get 3 to 5 feet high and 3 to 5 feet wide. So they should fill this in. Oh, while we're here, little Frida that I planted over here last year, she's doing really good. She's about 4 feet tall. She had a branch here that broke off in the snow, but she's filling in this spot quite well. And this guy here, which I got knocked over 2 years ago, I've got him staked up now. So, and this is the one that had the bottom here was all dead. It was crowded out because there used to be a barberry in this spot, and it just totally filled that in. And but now with the barberry gone, there's some sun that gets down in here, and so it's starting to start looking more like a tree than a lollipop. That's a new, fairly new evergreen. That bluish one there is fairly new. There's my big. This is a big snowberry here, and it looks like most of the berries are gone. So could be the birds got them, which is good. Snowberries are poisonous to humans, but birds can eat them. And this is a madrona here, which I got to do some more trimming here. I was trimming back the snowberry because it's partially blocking the madrona. I was assuming though this madrona is going to get tall and it's going to get above the snowberry someday, and then it'll get its own sun again. But you can see where it gets, which side, that side has the sun and this side doesn't. So okay, well anywho, so that's a quick walk of the front yard, and I guess I'll end it here. Oh, the fig trees over here are just starting to bloom. There's a native mock orange behind there. The green leaves are sticking up above there. The bottom part here is just leafing out. The top part kept its leaves, I guess because it was farther back in the trees and sheltered. So here we've got the figs. You know, you can see there's some, that tip there is new growth. And these other guys, there's actually 4 fig trees here, 1 big one and 3 little guys. And you can tell, like right now, the sun just came out. So right now, this time of day, even here in March, you know, they're getting, this is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they're getting good sun. And figs do like some sun. I see there's I got some crossing branch problems here. There, I got to trim some more in there, I guess. I had trimmed, I've been trimming this one when it gets so tall. You know, the figs grow up there. I can go up here and reach this branch and I can pull it down a little bit without snapping it and harvest the figs. But when they get, I don't want them to get so tall that I got to use a ladder to harvest the figs. So I'll keep trimming this one off. You can see here where I've trimmed off some of the taller branches there. I'll just keep doing that. The other ones here I'll trim a little bit to get them to spread, because this one here, this is a spot where it was trimmed. This was pruned, I don't know, a couple years ago probably, and you can see that it grew, you know, 4 new branches from that one prune. And each of these branches is going to probably have some figs this year, maybe, I hope. So if the weather is good, we'll get some more figs. All right, that's it for today.